Peace and blessings, Omo House. Jarain coming at you. It is the 1st of March. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, before I begin with this month's FaithWorks, I want to share that it has been a powerful February. Personally as well as professionally, wonderful things going on for Omo House, so stay tuned. I consciously chose not to do a FaithWorks in February because I wanted to honor the very sacred celebrating of blackness that we call Black History Month in America, but I also am very clear that for me, honoring the journey of melanated people globally was my focus this month in the Cyber Lounge. So I hope that we all have benefited from the celebration. Many of us have had the opportunity to be really excited about the movie Black Panther. Many of us shared just our grieving and celebrating the black body, the black mind, the black spirit, and black excellence. So that's what we did in February. I apologize for those of you who really enjoy FaithWorks, but we are back again and really excited, and just a lot of good things happening in the lounge, so stay tuned. We have a new book that we will be reading in our virtual book club, so stay tuned. Anyway, this month FaithWorks is focusing on the call of perseverance. So the exploration, as FaithWorks tends to do, is to look at things with a new set of eyes. I call it Christ consciousness eyes. And so as I tend to do, I try to stay true to the verbiage unless my spirit says something needs to be said here. So, March. Welcome to the call of perseverance. March is the month of long roads. For folks that live in the northern part of the U.S., it's a time when winter begins to wear on them. Some folks aren't just sick of the cold and darkness. They begin to wonder, how much more can we endure? So, the theme of long roads also shows up as we continue to observe Lent and use or utilize Yeshua's 40 days in the desert to reflect on persisting in the face of life's many temptations. So this year, March contains our pre-Easter reflections on the Passion and its call to witness Yeshua's long walk to the cross as he withstands betrayal, abuse, doubts, and great suffering. And so, this month we are invited into the call of perseverance from many angles. We are invited to ask, what does it mean to survive? Where do we find the strength to persist? And what does it mean to endure faithfully? Now, the usual answers to these questions focus on grit and the strengths of the one's will. Let me say that again. The usual answer to those questions about persistence usually focus on grit and the strength of one's will. And for those who embrace the identity of Christian, we also bring in the idea of trusting in a creator trusting in that Creator to sustain and support us along the way. We encourage each other to keep moving and have faith that the Creator will carry us when we are weak. So, all this talk of faithful tenacity is pretty important. It is a core thread through much of this month's conversation. And yet, we do a disservice to each other and our faith if all we ask is, how can I stay strong? For instance, we need to remember passages such as Mark 4:35 through 40, when Yeshua, quote, left the crowd behind, put all the work down, and slept. Or with Easter approaching, we also think of Yeshua stepping away to the Garden of Gethsemane to honor his exhaustion and weakness of spirit. It all brings to mind a quote from the poet Shane Kazan. Quote, people cry not because they are weak. It's because they've been strong too long. And so, my friends, this month, instead of just asking, how do we stay strong? Let's also be sure to ask each other, have we been strong too long? Yes, it's not the usual question when tackling the topic of perseverance, but it is an important reminder that as a people of perseverance, we are called not just to grit and strong wills, but to gentleness and self-care. Constantly pushing ourselves without also giving ourselves the gift of pause gets us nowhere. Digging deeper without making time to deepen and fill our wells is a recipe for self-inflicted pain. Yeshua knew this, and he seems to want us to remember it too. All of which is to say that maybe vulnerability is the real secret to perseverance. Maybe admitting you're tired and asking for help is the real strength that gets us through. The dominant myth of Sisyphus pushing his rock up that endless hill hasn't done us any favors. We assume that Sisyphus is suffering because his work is endless. But maybe it's his isolation and lack of a place to rest that is his true torment. So, my friends, this month, let's remember to stop tormenting ourselves. We don't have to give up those pep talks about digging deep and being stronger than we know. But right alongside that, let's make sure we're also doing the more tender work of propping each other up and reminding each other to breathe. So, Rabbi David Wolf tells a story that we should all carry with us this month. So here's the story. A boy and his father were walking along a road when they came across a large stone. Do you think if I use all of my strength, I can move this rock? The child asked. His father answered, if you use all of your strength, I am sure you can do it. The boy began to push the rock. Exerting himself as much as he could, he pushed and he pushed and he pushed. The rock did not move. Discouraged, he says to his father, you are wrong. I can't do it. His father puts his arm around the boy's shoulder and says, "No, son, you didn't use all your strength. You didn't ask me to help." What a gift to remember that perseverance isn't a solo act. Of all the gifts and insights that this month has to offer, may that be the one that none of us miss. So, welcome to March. In the Cyber Lounge, there will be a number of spiritual exercises. Option A is what props up your perseverance. Option B, let beauty birth your perseverance. Option C, get the obstacles out of the way. And option D, the companion piece that calls to you. And then, of course, always God's question for you. So, see you in the lounge. Feel free to share as much or as little as your spirit calls you to do. Any questions that you have, feel free to post them. And more than anything, what I hope we begin to do more and more, and I'm really excited that people are starting to communicate much more, let's talk to each other. Let's be mirror for each other. Let's share the price of our perseverance with one another. Let's honor each other's narratives, if you will. So, welcome to March. Welcome to the new conversations, and feel free to grow this and expand this as much as possible. And of course, you knew we had to have a dog event, because that's how the puppies get down. All right. Talk to you all soon. Peace, love, and light.